time to talk about how Qimir, wait for it, is Imri Kantaros. Now hear me out. I was originally put on this path by a viewer by the name of Myth, we'll say. Shout out to you, by the way. And to be fair, I was already leaning towards this notion before, because if you read the High Republic books, you'll know that Imri Kantaros was Vernestra's Padawan. Now there's two initial reasons why I believe this to be so. Qimir was a Jedi a long time ago. Qimir was a Jedi a very long time ago. This is in response to Osha saying that she doesn't recall ever seeing him in the temple.
You speak as if you were a Jedi.
I was. A long time ago.
I've never heard of you.
It was a really long time ago.
And given Osha's last time with the Jedi was 6 years ago, so she trained with them for 10 years. Additionally, Qimir doesn't look a year over 40. That places Qimir firmly one generation removed from any ranks that Osha would recognize. This is when the "a long time ago" comes into play, because Vernestra was shocked to see that he was still alive.
You're alive.
When was Imri Kantaros Vernestra's Padawan? Around 231 BBY. Given the Acolyte takes place around 132 to 130 BBY, we've got an approximate 100-year gap between what we know of Imri and Vernestra as Master and Apprentice. Given Imri's history with falling to the dark side and fighting Vernestra to be pulled back from it, it's easy to imagine that it could have occurred again, possibly with a more traumatic experience. With Manny's age and the speculation of when he could have been cast away, he could have fallen and died within that 100-year gap, resurrected by Plagueis, and well, this goes into my first theory with Plagueis and Qimir. And if you haven't seen that one yet, scroll down a few videos, you'll find it. Now let's put aside how Imri looks in official art, because that could very well be a case of Caleb to Canaan. But whenever I read the name Imri Kantaros, I think that's a Filipino name. But if we rearrange the name just a bit, putting the last initial first, for example, we get C. Imri. You already know where I'm going with this, don't you? Now, as a Sith, you kind of want to ditch your former identity. In this case, it was as simple as this. Q. Qimir. Now, I realize a lot of this is still speculative, but the nail in the coffin for me is when the viewer Myth, like I said, came into one of our live streams and said this: Imri is an empath. And I was like, that's right. A very gifted empath.
Aw, look at you two. Right back where you started. You trust him? Even after everything he did to you.
His mind is twisted by darkness.
I've accepted my darkness. What have you done with yours? You look exactly like her. Why do you love people who can only go so far? Who can't go as deep as you can? What you're feeling right now, this anger, this pain, this is who you are. The Jedi saw it, and that's why they threw you away.
So as we know, Jedi do come with innate talents with the Force. Ezra Bridger could commune with the animals, Obi-Wan could mind trick really easily. Imri was an empath. He could hear people's thoughts and emotions and feelings. And it was overwhelming at times, which is how he fell to the dark side in the first place. And as someone who can hear all of that and falls to the dark side, what's the first thing you want to do when you embrace your emotions and a sense of selfishness? You get a helmet that
Blocks out all your senses?
So it's just you and the Force.
If Qimir was Vernestra's Padawan a very long time ago, and that timeline could directly link to when Imri was Vernestra's Padawan, and you think that Kantaros is a Filipino name, and he's being played by a Filipino man, who's hot by the way, and loves to go around wearing a helmet that deprives him of his empath abilities, are you starting to believe in any of this? Anyways, let me know what y'all think.